Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Suzanne. In today's video, I'm going to be working on some healthy meal prep. I've been kind of binge watching someone on YouTube called Chelsea Mae. I'm going to link her channel below. One of the concepts on her channel is sort of a rolling meal prep system that takes very little time and gives you the core components that you need to build healthy meals. And I just think that this is really smart because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of what you're going to eat. You already have things in your fridge when you need it and when you're hungry. So anyways, let's get into the meal prep. I've got a little bit of a grocery haul first. And I did a big cleanup on my fridge, which was just really bad, you guys. But it's done. So let's get into it. Okay, I thought I would show you guys this cookbook that I have that I really like. It's called Mandy's Gourmet Salads. And I just find this book to be so inspiring. And it's just got so many ideas of different salads that include meat and grains and just all the stuff that I want to have on hand. And so there's recipes for the actual salads, but then at the back of the book, there's actually recipes for all the components and the dressings. So I really like this book. And I thought I'd just show you really quickly what I picked up at the store today. And over here, we don't get plastic bags anymore. So I opted to get a box, because you can just reuse these boxes. And then when I'm decluttering, I can send this box away to the thrift store full of stuff I don't want. So I got a big thing of organic lettuce, so I can just use that as part of my component bowls. I also got spinach, and I got some arugula. And what I've found is that because I live on a salad greens farm and we usually have these things available throughout a big part of the year, I find that I have a really hard time buying this stuff off season, and I tend to just not eat healthy because it's really hard to buy this stuff when I'm used to having it. I don't know, it's just a mental block for me. But I've just told myself I have to get over it and I have to start buying these healthy things. So that's going to go in my fridge. I also bought myself some espresso, and I grind this at the store so that I don't have to have a grinder at home. It's just another appliance I don't want to have around. And there's some really good quality grinders at our local grocery store. So I get that and I grind it there. Cottage cheese was on sale for $4.98 for the big tub. And these are usually like $6.98, or I don't know, they're really expensive. And this is super high in protein. And my son really likes to have this with tuna, and he puts that as a spread on things. But just really high in protein, good for you. So that's something I got lots of. And then for flavor, I got rice vinegar and sesame oil because I really want to do some Asian kind of sauces. And it's something I didn't have on hand. I got 2 bunches of cilantro, 1 bunch of dill, because that just packs in so much flavor. And then I got some snap peas, a head of iceberg lettuce, which has that crunch that the other lettuce doesn't have. And this can be really good as an alternative. And then some bananas and some rice noodles, which I really like to make a pad thai. So those are really easy to cook with. You just soak them in water for like half an hour. And then when you're doing a stir fry, you just put them in near the end and they soften up really quickly. So that's my sort of grocery haul of things that I picked up. And the nice thing about buying that lettuce and the spinach and the greens is that they're already pre-washed and ready to go. And so I don't have to do any prep with that. So I really wanted to have that on hand. So that's it for this, and then we're going to get into a little bit of meal prep. I'm getting started with some Greek yogurt, and I have a tutorial on my channel on how to make this, and I make it quite often because it's just so much less expensive than buying yogurt, and it's quite easy to make. I'm just smelling my starter to make sure it's still good because it's been a little bit since I made my last batch. And then I'm also getting started some rice at the same time because I'll be stuck at the stove for a little bit, heating up that milk and stirring. I need to heat up my milk to 180 degrees. And I've been doing this long enough now that I generally don't need to have the thermometer, which is quite nice. So it's very simple. I just have to stir so that I don't get a film on the bottom of my pot. And then I need to let this milk cool so that I can add the starter. So I've got my yogurt started, my brown rice, and my beans. And now I still have the hummus to do, and I want to chop some veggies. And my thought is, even though I could put everything in my storage containers that are plastic, glass is always better. And I still have an assortment of mason jars downstairs, even after doing my pantry. And what I want to do is some pickled red onion because it's just so flavorful and you can throw it on absolutely everything. And then I'm going to chop up my cilantro and my dill and just have it in these mason jars kind of ready to go. Because I find that if you keep your herbs in the bags from the grocery store, they always end up rotting on you before you ever get to them because you can't see them and it's just inconvenient. So I really want to just chop these up and have them ready to go, which adds so much flavor to any meal. And then I've got these big sort of jars that sometimes I use for sauerkraut, sometimes I use these for my homemade baking mix, but I'm thinking I have a whole bunch of broccoli and cauliflower in my fridge, and I think I'm just going to chop those up and have them in this jar because not only will it look pretty, but it'll just be so easy to spot it in my fridge. You want to have easy access to all of the stuff that you've prepped, but you also want it to be highly visible. So anything you can put in mason jars, I think is better than non-see-through containers. Even though my other containers do have clear tops, they get kind of fogged up and you can't really see what's in them. So this is just a better option, I think. The basic brine that I'm going to do for these pickled red onions is a cup of water. Then I'm going to do a cup of white vinegar. So half and half basically. And then I'm just going to do a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. A quart-sized jar is 4 cups. So that's why I'm only doing 2 cups of brine because I'm going to be filling this up with onions. So there's no way 4 cups of liquid's going to fit in here. I don't even think 2 cups of liquid will fit in here, but we're just going to do that so we know we have enough. So I'm going to get that started on the stove, get it up to a boil and then shut it off. And then we can add it to our red onions. It's so fast, so easy. And we go to a burrito place every once in a while, and the pickled red onions is my favorite topping. But those burritos are probably so many calories, so I really want to stop going there and just have the ingredients at home. I'm adding the salt and the sugar and getting this up to a boil. And this tool right here is a canning funnel, and I find this so valuable when you're dealing with mason jars, not just for canning, but anytime. It's just so helpful because it just guides things into the jar so easily. So I'm going to get chopping my red onions. And generally, we're just going to slice them. We really just want to wait until that salt and sugar is dissolved. Once I add that vinegar to this, oh man. Once I add the vinegar, these are kind of going to shrink a little bit so we can really pack these tight. I've got 2.5 onions that's going in here. I'm going to put a hot pad under there. And then this is really boiling now, so that's going to go in there. One tip with mason jars, you never want to go from hot to cold. So you would not want to put this in your fridge while it's still boiling hot. Let it cool to room temperature. And this jar is room temperature right now, but that really should be fine. But hot to cold will break your jars. Didn't quite fill it to the top, but I'm just going to push those red onions in there, and it's going to be fine because the onions will also release some of their juice. So we're just going to let that sit, and once it's at room temperature, we can go ahead and put that in the fridge. And this is going to be so delicious on all salads and really anything. So, so good. Next is the herbs, and I'm not worried about washing this because, for one thing, when it's sitting on the shelf at the grocery store, it constantly has that spray coming down on it. So essentially it is getting washed. You really just want to open it up and just see if there's anything bad in there, and I don't think there is. This looks really fresh. And I'm going to be chopping the entirety of this, the stems too, because the stems have just as much flavor as the leaf. And I don't want to waste any of it because this is so good for you. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a chop. And it doesn't even have to be fine. But we do want those stems to be kind of chopped up. Cilantro is something you either love or you hate, and my husband and I both love it, and the kids too don't really seem to mind it, so that just adds so much flavor. And I could totally see doing a burrito type bowl with this, with some ground beef and some of the rice and all of the toppings. So that's just going to go in there. And that's why it's so helpful to have this canning funnel, because then I'm not making a huge mess. And I can push that down. There we go. Here's a pro tip from someone that has a lot of canning jars. I always keep spares up here, and all of my used jar lids I keep. And then that way I can use it for stuff like this that doesn't need to be sealed, as in canning, but this was from pickled beets. So I'm just reusing these, and I keep these up here all the time so that I can always have tops for my lids. So that's just a little tip, because canning jars are just so useful, you guys. I love them. Same with the dill. Well, maybe I don't want those huge stems at the bottom, but I can use most of this. And I can already smell it. Oh, so good. Ooh, something I can make with that Greek yogurt and this and the cucumber, tzatziki. Oh, I love it. And that would be a really healthy sort of dressing to have on your salad as well. So, so good. That with the hummus, oh, I'm in love. So that's gonna go in here. So once my Greek yogurt is ready, I might actually do that. There we go. This is new since doing my pantry videos. I put this big basket down here, and this is where I keep my onions, garlic, potatoes. I've got sweet potatoes here, because you really want to keep these things in the dark, otherwise they start sprouting. And you don't need to keep them in bags, because then they sweat and it's not good for them. So keeping them in a dark cupboard like this is perfect. All right, so I've got my herbs all done. My pickled red onion. My yogurt is cooling off, and that's gonna go in my dehydrator for about 6 or 7 hours. And my brown rice is just about done. The next thing on my list is the hummus. And I'm only gonna make 1 jar of hummus, and the other jar is just gonna be chickpeas that I could put in something. And I've only been working here for about 50 minutes from start to finish since I finished lunch. It's 1:49, 1:50. So I haven't been working more than an hour, and I kind of want to leave it at that, because the whole idea behind this system is to just keep moving and doing a little bit every day. And when your fridge is full of ingredients, you don't need to keep going. You just replace something as it empties, kind of like my jar system in the pantry. So when my jar of pickled red onions is empty and I want more, I just make more. So I really like the idea of this system. I really think that this is going to be phenomenal for my health and the health of my family. But as a mom, as someone that does so much for other people, I had to take a step back and think about what I want and be a little bit selfish and think about what I want my diet to look like, because realistically, I'm the one shopping, I'm the one cooking. So in essence, I have complete power and control over what happens in this kitchen, but I'm always thinking about everyone else, as most moms do. So I want to step it up a notch this year in 2025 and really focus on my health and my diet. Drinking more water too is another thing. But I'm really excited about this. So I'm just going to finish up these few tasks. And then that's it for today. Let me know if you have any tips like this in the comments of things you've done to better your health. And I'm really focusing in on this because the whole pantry redo is all part of being able to kind of streamline my cooking, make things easier on myself. And so far it's working out great. Now the fridge part is done. I've already cleaned my freezers earlier. So this is great. I'm really, really happy about this. I realized I only had about half an hour before I had to go pick up my daughter from school, so I figured I might as well just whip up this hummus. I decided to do it kind of liquidy, just because I want to use it kind of almost as a salad dressing. And then I just added lemon juice, salt, 2 garlic cloves, and some tahini. And I just kind of threw it all together, not really worrying about the quantities because I've made this so many times, and just blended this up. So that's going to go in the fridge. That was on my list of things that I really wanted to have on hand. And then I also need to cut up the broccoli and the cauliflower. And I've just kind of been picking up items randomly at the store when I'm out. So I already have the broccoli and cauliflower. And I'm going to put it in that big jar. And I think it's just going to be so nice to have it visible like that in my fridge, and so encouraging to use. So I've got everything done here. I got my broccoli and cauliflower done, the hummus, the pickled red onions, my herbs, and then I've got my yogurt in my dehydrator right now doing its ferment. And I started some beans soaking at the beginning of this video, but that footage is gone, unfortunately. But I'm just soaking them today. I'll cook them tomorrow in my slow cooker, and then they'll be cooked and ready to use if I want to make like a refried bean or just anything. So this is my healthy meal prep that I'm doing for weight loss, and it's just going to give me a lot of options that are ready to go when it comes to meals. And so I'm setting myself up for success here, and this is really a good step towards my health goals. But of course, you just have to keep it going and keep it rolling, and that's my goal right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have a great day.